So thank you very much for joining our session today. For those of you who just joined us, or for those of you who missed my introduction before, my name is Matt Smalley. I'm the Customer Success Team Leader here at accessplanit, which means I look after our CSMs and implementation managers and speak to customers quite a lot as well. Sarah, would you like to give yourself an introduction to the team?
Yes. So what that means from Matt is that he is my boss, because I am one of the customer success managers here at accessplanit. So I look after a section of our clients and make sure that they're getting the best out of our system.
Okay, so what we're going to be covering off today then is we're going to be taking a look through incoming inquiries. So we're going to be taking a look very much about how the world of training has changed rapidly over this 6 to 8 weeks. I know the sales geeks there mentioned it pivoting. We hear that constantly at the moment with the webinars, the content we've been putting out there, how the world's changed and what really is the new normal we find ourselves in now. We'll be taking a look at automation. Again, people working with reduced staff numbers due to furloughs, people working in different ways and trying to increase efficiencies really, whether it's distractions at home when you need to take the dog for a walk, you've got kids and you're trying to homeschool as well. How can you make yourselves more efficient during this time? And then we'll be looking at some proactive marketing techniques you can use as well for how to take courses back out to market, how you can start to plan that playbook for when this lockdown finishes, what you can be doing to put in place to start proactively marketing courses and also remarketing your online content that you've been putting together. And then finally, we'll be talking through some best practice as well. Before we begin, just a reminder, Q&A is open, chat's open. We'll also be launching polls as well during this, so do feel free to be putting comments through, keeping the engagement going as well. I also saw loads of people throwing in LinkedIn profiles as well for people to connect and keep that going as well. The more we can share, the more knowledge and information we can pass around the industry, the better it will be. Okay, so to kick off with then, incoming inquiries. So what is the new normal? What does the world look like at the moment? And really, what are we facing at the moment? So one thing we've done at accessplanit, and we do this annually, is we take a temperature check of the industry, what's happening through our training industry reports, just to see where the pains are, where people are finding issues and what is going on. And I just want to launch the first poll we're going to do today, which is in terms of what do you feel that taking bookings and inquiries, is it taking a long process? That's one thing we pulled out of our industry survey, and I want to see whether the same thoughts and feelings are here now. So I'm going to launch the poll in a couple of seconds, and you should see that one coming through. So at this moment in time, within the new normal, do you feel that processing bookings and inquiries is taking too long? Do you know? Do you don't know? Do you not have any of those figures? When people are booking through on the website, are people coming through and emailing still? Are they filling in inquiry forms? What do we think at the moment? Do we feel as though it's taking too long? So I'll give you a few more seconds on that to vote. We've had about 30, nearly 40% now of people who voted. This is filling up here. I'll give you 10 more seconds for those who haven't voted. So I'm 46% now, creeping up. 3, 2, 1, there we go. Okay, so people who feel as though processing bookings and inquiries takes too long, 40% of people on here think that's true. 35% of people don't feel as though it takes too long, and 40% don't know, so they might not even have the statistics there. Well, what we found during our research into the training industry through many fillings of our survey is that 40% of people felt that processing bookings and inquiries was too long and was too much of a burden. One of the biggest.
It's interesting there that the poll reflects the exact same number.
It was very interesting. I was hoping to see whether that would be fluctuating based on the change within lockdown. This survey was taken a few weeks ago, so whether or not that's changed, but interesting, that's still a very similar statistic there as well. One thing that happens all the time, 41% of people still think that spreadsheets or still use spreadsheets for one of their main parts of their business. They manage and track parts of their business still using spreadsheets. And then finally, 69% of people, and we'll come on to this in a second, are looking at planning and running online courses compared to 49% last year. So again, this is a snapshot from a few weeks ago. There was already a big increase there, a 20% increase from respondents saying they are now running online courses and they're planning to run online courses in the future. I think if we run that survey again, it will be even higher.
Yeah, I would agree.
So what is the new normal, and what are we facing with here? So to work out what the new normal is, let's go back, let's say 3 to 4 months in terms of what were previous incoming inquiries, how were they managed? Well, I'm pretty sure anyone in an office environment will be looking at these kind of situations. Notes on the hands, notes on post-it notes and so on. Notes on hands, post-it notes and so on. Please speak people later. This is what the world used to look like. People ringing in, people taking notes and passing it to colleagues. That isn't the new normal anymore. If it is, and you're getting in your car to drive to a colleague's house a street away, a town away, or even a city away, then, well, I'll be very, very surprised, but I'm pretty sure that's no longer happening anymore. We also are in a world as well where people aren't constrained to the 9 to 5 anymore. If you have phone lines at home, whether you're using laptops and computers to take incoming phone calls or using mobiles, people are no longer constrained to the 9 to 5. Myself, personally, I'm an early riser. I'd much rather be up in the morning and doing things and then signing off a bit earlier. Some people are the complete opposite and are night owls and will want to be working later into the evening. With the huge shift and the huge transition we've seen within the industry of late and people running online courses, yesterday on yesterday's session with Henry Stewart at Happy, one of our friends, we had people on that call who were coming in with questions from Singapore, from South Africa, from Florida, from San Francisco. We've got people today from India. That these online courses now, your target market has now grown exponentially because people can join these courses from wherever they are. You're no longer constrained to having people coming in locally from your region in the United Kingdom or Europe or the US. People can join these courses from wherever they are in the world. And so when we're talking about that within relation to sales and marketing and managing incoming inquiries, if you're constraining yourselves for phone lines and emails, are people being allowed to make inquiries when it suits them and getting the information from you? So what we can do here at accessplanit, and one of the key tools we do encourage people using, is our inquiry form online. So allowing yourselves to embed an inquiry form to select which course somebody's inquiring about, and we see this very popular for in-house courses, and filling in all that key contact information. A really quick and easy process. Most people do have an inquiry form, and we have this embedded within our accessplanit platform. This allows people then to make an inquiry at a time that suits them. It's nice and convenient for them as well. So straight away, someone can make a very quick inquiry, give you some more information about what they're wanting to see, what courses they're after, whether it's online, they might be looking to find out more. If it's a face-to-face course, you've transitioned to being online, they can then go through and ask you a question about that. From the entire perspective of a TMS, though, that can then convert into an opportunity. So being able to manage a pipeline, this is here what we're looking at here as a Kanban board, and I think the majority of people now are using tools such as Trello and so on, using this Kanban board methodology to be able to segment their opportunities and manage them through the sales pipeline. So from that very first initial inquiry into your business, your organization, at whatever time they've contacted, and we'll talk through some additional benefits such as the automation a little bit later on. Straight away that can be put into your pipeline and you can look at resolving that and getting back to them, whether it's via quotation or further information. So straight away that inquiry forms come in. There's no longer a post-it note available. You don't have a receptionist or someone in accounts who's picked up an overspill call or someone in your technical team. This is now being able to go straight through into your pipeline. We'll also never be able to get away from the email contacts. People do like that email preference. So being able to take an opportunity from an email, open that up and fill in the information about the opportunity. For those of you who've never seen the accessplanit system before, being able to link that to current accounts that you trade with regularly. Here we've got our typical Joe Blogs Limited, and linking that to your key contacts to create that opportunity. This is all feeding that pipeline we've just seen here, putting it into the relevant sales stage that can be customized by yourselves, and then being able to monitor and report on that as you progress through to the closure of the opportunity. And as well, people will phone you still. It doesn't matter, you'll never be able to get away from that. If people do have those close relationships and you've got close relationships with your clients, people will still want to call you, and you can be able to take a quick note on here rather than having to fill in all the information. If you do have a client on the phone, being able to very quickly fill in that information about the inquiry as quickly and as easily as possible. So just to recap then on a couple of those key statistics, 40% of people still find that inquiries and bookings is still an issue, and it's still one of their biggest pains, and that was reflected in our poll today. 41% of people and organisations are still using spreadsheets to manage part of their business. Again, we try and avoid spreadsheets where possible. We still do use them, but is it forming part of your core business?
Yeah.
And then finally, just to touch on automation now, 78% of people are classing their customer experience as customer satisfaction as one of their leading topics, their leading metrics and indicators. And that takes us nicely now onto Sarah's piece here around the automation, from capturing that information and storing it in the accessplanit system. How can you then make some automation processes around there to give your clients the best experience? So I'll hand over to yourself, Sarah.
Yeah, and just to touch on that last figure there, that 78%, I think obviously that's quite a high figure, and I think all of us can agree that customer satisfaction is one of the main drivers in businesses, especially the ones like ours. And I think especially now it's even more important to sort of engage and ensure that that customer experience is the best it possibly can, because then it can ensure your repeat business for the future. So yeah, so that takes us on to the sort of automation side of what Matt's just been through. So he's shown you going through an incoming inquiry. So I'm now going to go through how we can automate everything that we possibly can to mean that you guys don't have to do that sort of laborious admin part of it. If you go into my next slide, Matt. So I think we'll all all sort of empathise with this slightly at some point, you know, where you're desperately trying to sort of catch up with emails and log inquiries, emails, phone calls, all of that. What we're trying to do is ease some of this. So, you know, you can see Bruce, or, you know, Bruce there typing away feverishly. I think we've all been in that situation, sort of responding to emails as quickly as possible. So if I go on to my next slide now, this just covers over again that inquiry form. So having this embedded on your website, to just to reiterate on what Matt said, that, you know, this can then ensure that you're able to take inquiries 24/7. You know, you're never closed, essentially, that, you know, people can log inquiries, and also that you can get the information that you need from them in here. So you can see we've got starred fields in there that are mandatory. That means, you know, I know how easy it is on the phone to sort of write something down and then think, I didn't take their email address, or I forgot to ask where they were actually calling from. This can ensure that every step of that detail is taken for you. So then once your inquiry has come in, it's then those actions on the back of that. What do you want to happen now? So if I go on to my next slide.
It's a good point as well there, just to ask the guys in the audience here, how many people actually use automated responses to inquiries and to quotations at this point as well. So just going to launch a quick poll here, just to see how many people at the moment do use any sort of automation within their inquiry forms, within their quotations and so on. How many people actually have any automated processes? We'll just launch that poll there. So Sarah, I'll just move on for you while those results are coming through.
Thank you.
Okay, so a few more seconds on this. 3, 2, 1. Okay, there we go. So 59% of people don't have any automation in terms of when their inquiry forms are coming through and then following up on that with quotations. So really interesting.
Yeah, so that leads me nicely onto this. So once you've had all of that detail, you know, come through on your inquiry form, the accessplanit workflow engine can then automatically send a response to your customer. So you can have that nicely branded, so you can have sort of a stock statement, which, you know, I'm sure we've all received at some point over the course of our lives. You know, I know recently actually I inquired with a business, and even though I haven't yet had a a response from a real person, I did have that automated response to say, you know, we have your inquiry, we've received it, and we will be looking into it. It was interesting actually that they'd updated their automated inquiries to explain that there might have been further delays due to COVID, and that is something that we can do within the system. You know, you can always update those email templates to be sort of on the money of what's happening now. You know, maybe there's a longer bank holiday, so there's going to be a little bit of extra, or, you know, there's a global pandemic happening, so people are taking a few more days to respond to emails. So that it just means that your customers have got that communication there. And what you can also do is communicate to your sales team as well. So every member of the sales team can get an email that says, you know, we've had a new inquiry, and then that sales team can go into the system and pick that up and then manage that within their own pipeline. So it's a way of, you know, ticking off that box. You know, you don't have to say, oh, we missed the email, or, you know, it was missed out there. Everyone has that in their inbox, and it's also logged within the system as an inquiry as well. So just onto our next screen here. So you've seen this this part before, the Kanban board. So this is where your sales team can manage those inquiry stages. Now, at the top here, you can see you've got your sales stages, so closed won, inquiry, quotation, etc. And you can customize these within the system to fall in line with your sales process. So if you have maybe email quotation sent and call scheduled, etc., closed won, closed lost, those sorts of things, you can customize these to be totally in line. And as I was saying, you can also have automation depending on these sales stages. So, you know, the inquiry comes in, an email goes out automatically, and then when you said you've arranged a call, you can then follow up with an email to say thank you for arranging a call. Then another email goes out, all depending on these stages. And then lastly, and probably one of the most important parts of the automation here, is you can actually send out quotes via the system. So go into my next slide now. So you can send out a nice formatted quote in here. So this can ensure continuity across your sales team. So all of your quotes are looking the same. They're all nicely branded. You know, there's not any typos in there or anything unusual. And really importantly as well, there's a nice call to action button as well. So the customer can then accept that quotation that you've agreed between the two parties and then book now. And that will take them directly into their shopping basket, and they can book themselves onto that course. So you've gone right the way through from inquiry all the way through communicating with your customer, and then you can say, here's your quote, and they can book themselves on.
Absolutely. I think that's really important in today's day and age, and what we keep going back to here is the new normal. Is people's hours are just thrown. You know, where you would have somebody in the office 9 to 5. You know, if the call to action is for them to call you back and book a course with you, or send you an email, actually they might not get around to it till 10 p.m. You know, we're getting emails from clients at all hours at the moment, because if they've got kids and they're having to homeschool, whatever, you know, life gets in the way at the moment, especially working from home. So allowing and empowering clients to go and make bookings themselves and giving them all the tools is really, really vital at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I know personally, I prefer to book things online, and rather than doing it over the phone, I like to be able to go through that process. You know, whether it's like booking flights or a show or anything, I'd much rather do it myself.
Absolutely. Cool. Okay, so thank you for that, Sarah. That was our automation.
Yeah, just quickly, we've just got a quick question from David. The seminar is being recorded and will be available at a later date. So we'll come on to the questions later, but I just thought I'd reiterate that at that point.
Super. So just move on then to our email marketing functions within the system. Again, just touching back on that 41% still using spreadsheets and arranging contacts and creating cadences to send out. People are still utilising those functionalities, and that presents issues where data integrity comes in and finding the most up-to-date list. And another statistic we pulled through there, and we're going to touch on that in a second, is this was from our training industry survey as well. It is 63% of people use repeat business as one of their measures for success. So how many people come back after time and time again to repeat training courses, whether that's an account or an individual person. 63% of training companies are using repeat business as a tool, a metric for success. And that's something we're going to come back to in a second. In terms of accessplanit and our offering and being able to use one system for not only generating those incoming inquiries and scheduling courses and so on, but also being able to market to your delegates and your bookers and whoever you may be trading with and dealing with on a regular basis. Within accessplanit, we have our e-campaigns functionality where we can create, using a rich text editor and HTML, we can create marketing emails that are tracked. We'll look at the tracking in a second, and look very, very professional. So you can utilize that database, the gold that's in that database of your delegates, your bookers and so on. You can use that database to be sending out these e-campaigns and be remarketing your courses. And I don't think that's ever been as important as it is today. Having that central database for all the information, that data repository, allows you to, as my colleague Sarah just talked you through, automate the processes and make the customer experience, the customer journey for your clients as smooth and as efficient as possible. It also allows you to create a sales funnel and a pipeline by utilizing people who've booked on courses before and spotting those trends. So I just want to launch another poll here just to get a bit of a check here to see, in order of when you're taking new courses back to the market, or you are taking online courses to the market, how easily can you identify a target list of delegates based on historic bookings? So delegates who might have been on one of your leadership courses, your health and safety courses, how easily can you find those delegates when you do launch a new course, or you start to remarket that course when you come out of this lockdown? So I'm going to launch that poll now and I'll give you 30 seconds just to come back on this. So when we're talking about taking courses to market, when we're relaunching courses, how easily could you find that list of delegates who've booked on courses before? Okay, so 10 more seconds on this. 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. So a few people there saying with great difficulty. Most people in here saying it might take some time, but they could do it if they needed to be able to pull that together. And a few people also saying they wouldn't be able to do so as well. So a mixed bag there of people who could be able to find lists, some are able to find them easily, but taking time to be able to do it and adding to that processes. So in terms of accessplanit, because it is a training management system and you have the course, resource and delegate management, you're able to pull together these lists of delegates really easily by using our filters functionality, finding out who had attended our health and safety essentials course. A very simple course, putting a time frame around it. So particularly prevalent in this society, in this new normal, is finding out who's attended these courses or who is due to attend these courses in this time frame. That's going to start to give you these target lists of delegates. You can start to remarket to say, hey, we've taken this course online now. We're offering it now as a blended course. We're offering it now as a face-to-face, but we've reduced numbers. Here's some more information, and here's a link to go book it. Being able to find that list, and from our experience of having seen the raft of cancellations and transfers over that, I think, 8-week period, and will probably continue, being able to pull that list quickly and integrate it with an e-campaign functionality to send out, not only will save you an awful lot of time, but it will be a really powerful tool to start to take those courses back out to the market to get from, as our friends at Sales Teams were saying, then that curve starts to go up again, and when we start to come out of this, these kind of tools, this kind of methodology will really help advance the bounce back of booking those courses and making sure you get bums on seats, or indeed faces on screens for your new online offering as well. So in terms of sending out those e-campaigns, I mentioned a little bit earlier on, we do have the functionality to be able to track them, to see how many have sent, delivered, processed, how many have unsubscribed or reported you as spam as well indeed. We do have all of that functionality as well, that you can get the performance for a particular e-campaign. And it's really important as well, I think, at the moment with regards to marketing. There was something I read online, I think on LinkedIn the other day, where the typical times for marketing were usually around lunch times and at certain times of the day when people were browsing on LinkedIn and were browsing the marketing emails they've received. I don't always read them straight away. I might save them for a bit later when I get a quiet moment. Those times have also shifted drastically because people's working environment is different. You no longer have the commute to the office, the 5-minute making a coffee, then you can sit down. It's out of bed and you can start working. So the times for when to send email campaigns and marketing emails is really shifted. So being able to track the performance of when you sent it and at what time, scheduling those emails to send at the best time, the optimum time, is really, really important. And so once you found people who click through, obviously within accessplanit, you can find those users and you can start to follow up with emails with them to start to gauge interest and start to see that through to a closure as well. Okay, and then finally, just on a bit of best practice, accessplanit, again, as mentioned, we are a TMS, so we do offer the full solution from the inquiry all the way through to the booking and the delegate management. To create a truly holistic system, you're able to build dashboards and reports based on a number of factors, whether it's invoice income, whether you've got your forecast pipeline in there as well for the expected revenue for the rest of the quarter, linking that in with how many opportunities you've got in different sales stages, which open opportunities you've got, and again, the performance of your e-campaign. I always build a dashboard on the sense of coming on a Monday morning. You open your laptop on a Monday morning, you log on, and you've forgotten everything you do. You don't really know what your job is anymore, and you want to see exactly the key metrics and the key KPIs to make sure the business is moving in the right direction. And again, having that up-to-date information in this moment, in this new normal, is more important than ever. Okay, so that was a quick whistle-stop tour of the accessplanit sales and marketing function. So we'll just have a quick look through the chat here and the Q&A. We've had a few come through. So
See one from Joanne. So where in the system do we customize the opportunities dashboard within the sales stages we want? So that will be up in administration and then custom list items. So I believe it's called the CRM sales stage. So you can view the ones that are already there. You can disable them if you want, if they're no use to you, and you can add new ones in that custom list items area.
So we've got a question through as well. Which one of these are the most efficient to engage customers? Chatbots, inquiry forms, direct contact number? So yeah, as our colleague Dan has commented back there as well, who does look at it, we've got a chatbot as well, and we've got phone calls coming through to the office. I suppose it depends on your target market and what's the demographic of your clients, but yeah, chatbots are really easy. I know personally when I'm on websites, I love a chatbot because I know I can get a question answered quite quickly whilst doing other things, but I suppose it depends on your demographic there. But we've introduced chatbot and that's been really useful and handy. Okay. Let's double check any more questions. Lovely stuff. Okay, so thank you very much for your time today, Sarah. It's been very useful. I hope everyone's found that a useful session on accessplanit sales and marketing function. If you've got any questions at all, do feel free to send a message through to accessplanit, do on our website as well. And I hope everyone's looking forward to day 3 as well.